All right, the 49ers concluded their 9th practice of training camp, and this was an interesting one, as I think they all are. I'm going to cover a lot of what I saw, observations, some notes, and everything else, but I just want to start off with the highlight of the day. The highlight was not specifically one play, but is Ricky Pearsall, who I think just over time, every time I see him on the practice field, he looks just a little bit more comfortable. And one thing that's always telling to me is, you always wonder, are the things that we see on the practice field going to carry over to the games, that matter to the regular season? And the one thing that I will say is, you never know for sure. I've seen wide receivers play very well in practice, but not carry it over to the games. I've seen the same thing with quarterbacks. But the one thing I look for in wide receivers is, are the wide receivers, is this wide receiver doing the things that develop the trust with the quarterback? Because the quarterback's not going to throw the ball to a player, even on the practice field, if he's not running the right routes, if he's not doing the right things, if he's not lining up in the right position, if he's not being where he should be at the time he should be there. And from that standpoint, Ricky Pearsall has done really well. The 49ers are keeping him on a little bit of a pitch count. At least they did through the first week of practices. But he seemed to get more reps on Saturday and caught 5 passes. But I want to start off with something I saw just during the warm-up portion when the receivers are running routes on air and the quarterbacks are throwing them the ball. Ricky Pearsall lined up basically in the slot and ran kind of an in-breaking route. And I don't know if he ran the right depth or the timing was off or whatever the case may be, but Brock Purdy led him too much. The ball was a little bit high, and it bounced on the ground. Well, usually when the players go through this kind of drill, the direction they're running, they line up that way and go back the other way and run a similar route or a different route. But this was interesting because I don't think I'd ever seen this before. Ricky Pearsall was with the first group who ran that route. Then, the ball was incomplete, but Ricky hustled back to run another route, insisting upon another route with Brock Purdy. So you can see, the video of him, the ball landing incomplete while Demarcus Robinson was on the outside and he caught his pass, I believe, from Mac Jones. So he went back there and basically insisted on, no, don't go to that other side of the field quite yet. Let's finish this one. Let's make sure that we complete this pass. And I don't know that I've ever seen that, but it kind of speaks to this level of perfectionist that I think Ricky Pearsall has shown since he's been here. And then he really carried it out onto the practice field. A deep post pattern early in practice from Brock Purdy. Just a few plays later with the second team offense, the second quarterback out there, Mac Jones, catches an intermediate route. He caught 5 passes on the day, also added a couple of handoffs. And so 49ers seem to be getting more and more comfortable with Ricky Pearsall, and Ricky Pearsall is more and more comfortable with the 49ers offense and certainly with Brock Purdy, with whom he worked during the offseason program. Also wanted to single out Jordan Watkins, who did not practice on Friday. He was back out there on the practice field, fielding some punts, looks very comfortable fielding punts, but also making his mark as a wide receiver, catching a couple passes on this day as well. So next week will be an interesting week because the Denver Broncos come to town. So an opportunity for Ricky Pearsall and Jordan Watkins and many others, of course, to go up against another defense and figure things out on the fly against defenses they're not, they don't know so well, to make those adjustments on those routes. So the wide receivers I mentioned, Pearsall being the best wide receiver I've seen on the field. I think Jordan Watkins has looked good as a rookie, and also the 2 veteran guys who have stood out would be Demarcus Robinson and Russell Gage. But I think Pearsall, for the amount of time he's out there, really doing a good job. The one-on-one pass rush drills, something to keep an eye on. Today, the 49ers brought in C.J. West, Mykel Williams, and Alfred Collins to talk to the media. And the personalities are very interesting. C.J. West, very just has a lot of energy. He plays with a lot of energy. He also has a lot of energy when he's talking. Um, he's embracing the grind, putting the pads on. He likes that Robert Saleh called him a fire hydrant. It speaks to his ability to leverage offensive linemen, get underneath their pads, and use that smallish frame, 6'1", which is small for an NFL defensive lineman. So he's working on his game, and he's looked very good since the pads have gone on. Actually, I think he looked very good before the pads went on. The guy I'm kind of keeping an eye on, though, is Alfred Collins. He's somebody that has gotten off to a slow start in training camp, totally expected, just because he didn't take part in the offseason program. But the more he's been out there, he got a lot of reps, one-on-one reps on Saturday, and he seemed to get better all the time. I know these defensive linemen are kind of towing the line of, what do I want to do to win this rep, while also saying, I want to do some other things to see, to improve my game and maybe work on some areas where I need to work on. But Alfred Collins does have that big size, 6'5", 332 pounds, also has some good feet, and he showed it with a couple of spin moves. So better day of practice, better day of one-on-ones for Mykel Williams. I want to hit on some of the couple other things. Kyle Juszczyk left practice right at the beginning, pretty early on, walking off the field with an athletic trainer. Don't know what his situation is. 49ers did not have an update on him. And then Isaac Grendo, during a special teams drill, appeared to injure his right shoulder. Also had the medical staff over there. He did the range of motion thing. He looked okay, but don't know if he's going to miss any time. Sunday is a day off of practice. 49ers back at it on Monday. Speaking of special teams, still too close to call it the kicker competition. 49ers special teams coordinator Brant Boyer said it's too close to call. Competition is tight. He's happy with the way both guys are kicking on this particular day. Field goal attempts of 33, 38, 43, and 48. Joseph was 4 for 4. Moody missed his final kick wide left. Let me hit on up and down day on the practice field for Eli Apple. He did have a pass breakup. However, he was called for a deep pass interference penalty while covering Andy Isabella, the newly signed 49er slot receiver. Also ended practice giving up a 15-yard completion to Tariq Owens, son of Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens' son, Tariq, second year with the team, second training camp with the team. Last year he was on the practice squad. He's looking to see if he can either, at the very least, get back on the practice squad or maybe even earn a spot on the 53-man roster. So those are some of the things pointed out. Jake Tongas had a good day as he battles for the 49ers number 3 tight end position. I think he's in pretty good shape to win that spot. Those are some of the elements. I'm just kind of glancing over my notes of what happened today, what's notable. Jacob Robinson had a nice play, undrafted rookie from BYU cornerback. He made a really nice play with a PBU of a pass over the middle intended for Jordan Watkins, the rookie wide receiver from Ole Miss. So those are some of the breakdowns. A good day, I think, on the practice field for Brock Purdy and for Pearsall as well. And so that's probably what you need to know, as the 49ers had a medium practice. The big practice, the long practice, was on Friday, and a day off, and then they'll get back out there with a practice on Monday. One other note, Watkins, I mentioned, caught a really nice pass from Brock Purdy against the coverage of Jacob Robinson and also Richie Grant. So Watkins returns to practice and makes his presence felt a little bit. So that's the rundown for practice on this Saturday. Ricky Pearsall continues to do some good things, and you see the 49ers defensive linemen, those rookies, making incremental improvements. When you look at it, probably CJ West is a little bit ahead, maybe of the other rookies, just based on the work he got in during the offseason program. But when you look at the physical attributes and the physical ability of Mykel Williams and Alfred Collins, you know why the 49ers drafted them first and second in this draft, first round and second round. So that's the quick rundown from 49ers camp. I got to get out of here because Morgan Wallen has a concert tonight, and they're going to be running us out of here soon. But thanks for watching this video, 49ers practice update number 9, and that is it for now.